Just 1 second, folks. This is an emergency podcast. Just bear with me for a second. Trying to get my Bluetooth up and running so I can put Kirk on the intro. Honestly, I kind of debated on if I wanted to have an intro song tonight or this morning. But, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the greatest podcast in your morning, afternoon, lunch, dinner, midnight, whatever the case. I'm your host, TJ Riddell, and this is a very, very special podcast, because certain individuals are trying to test football's integrity, and I need to say something about this. But SGF Kurt, take it away.
I don't care if you let how step. I don't care if you let how rip. I don't care if you let how step. I don't care if you let how rip.
All right. So before I get into the main event, I just want to say this is the first NFL video in quite some time, and I do apologize for that. And I kind of wanted to talk about the recap of what's been going on in the last 3 weeks for the NFL, but due to time constraints and just how quick this video has to be, because this is a very, very stupid accusation by a group of individuals that are really famous for being comedians and just saying their own opinion. I mean, I get it. Freedom of speech, that's fine. But we'll talk about it here in a little bit, because I am a little pissed off about it. But we're going to talk about the games that happened last night or yesterday. First of all, the Chiefs taking on the Raiders. Chiefs, they had to win in order to get their first or that number one seed, and they ended up pummeling the Raiders 31-13. They took on the Las Vegas Raiders. Andy Reid, he's a creative guy. They did this weird thing in the huddle where they basically ring around the rosy, and then they had a weird formation where I don't know who was in front of Patrick Mahomes, but he got the snap, pitched it to Mahomes, and he threw it. I mean, it was a very very creative and smart play for the Chiefs, but good win for the Chiefs as they get their first round bye and home field advantage. Patrick Mahomes went 18 for 26, 202 passing yards, 1 touchdown. Jarrett Stidham, his first start in quite some time, but this time for the Raiders, 22 for 36, 219 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Pacheco, Caleb's favorite rookie right now, 8 carries, 64 yards, 1 touchdown. And then Watson had a banger of a play, one reception for 67 yards. Devontae Adams, 5 receptions, 73 yards. And Jarrett Stidham with 7 carries and 50 yards. I mean, the Raiders just looked terrible in this game, even though they had more time of possession and they tied the first downs, but They gave the ball away twice, and they could only muster up 279 yards total. I mean, it was just a complete disaster for the Raiders this year. But I hope that things work out with Derek Carr and the Raiders, or if the Raiders could get Tom Brady, that would be really crazy. But let's move on to the next game. AFC South implications. The Titans taking on the Jags. If the Titans won, they were in. If the Jags won, they were in. The Titans were at 7-9, and the Jags were at 8-8. So this was more back and forth, and the Jags had to come back in this game, and they ended up winning 20-16. First of all, I want to say, what a class act move by the Titans and the Jaguars to meet midfield on the Jaguar logo in Jacksonville and pray for Damar Hamlin. I mean, yeah, he's up and around, moving around and talking and just being able to do the things that we do, and that's a true blessing because he was a 5%. He was the 5% that would survive what he went through, and it's the power of God behind him, and he's a Christian too, and I really admire that there's still athletes out there that worship God, and it's a good thing. It is a good thing for the sport of football. It's a good thing for all sports, And you got fake Christians out there in the sports world, but I'm not going to get into that. It'll take the fun away from the sport. But I mean, this game was back and forth, and Joshua Dobbs he came in last week, played against the Cowboys in just 8 days, and he played pretty well against the Cowboys. Then he comes in, throws 20 for 29, 179 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. King Henry, 30 carries, 109 rushing yards, no touchdowns. And Okonkwo, 3 receptions, 42 yards, 1 touchdown. Christian Kirk, though, 6 receptions, 99 yards, 1 touchdown. Travis Etienne, 7 carries, 17 yards. But I'm telling you what, though, this kid right here, T-Law, I'm giving him a new nickname on here. He is now known as the Prince of Duval in Jacksonville. Or I should say the Prince of Duval. Trevor Lawrence, 20 for 32, 212 passing yards, and 1 touchdown for T-Law. I mean, this team went from 3-7 to now a 9-8 team that's in the first round of the playoffs, hosting a playoff game. And I do believe I want to say that I said watch out for the Jaguars this season. And look what happened. They bounced it around. And Doug Peterson deserves a lot of credibility to this, even though he has all this star-studded talent or young talent for the Jacksonville Jaguars. These guys are going to grow. It's the same thing with TCU. Like, they were young and they were struggling, but now they're in the national championship. I see a bright future for Jacksonville. If you continue to keep these guys and not squander it away like you did with the 2017 Jacksonville Jaguars, where you got rid of some bad eggs. I mean, yeah, it's good to get rid of some bad eggs, but they were the anchor of the team, Like Jalen Ramsey, he's not a bad egg, but still, he was the anchor of the defensive back core. And Unique Ngagwe, he was a key part of that front line. And now seeing the Jaguars succeed in actually clinching the playoff spot and clinching the AFC South Championship, that's awesome to see. After last year's scrutiny with Urban Meyer, and Doug Peterson coming in, I actually liked the hire for Jacksonville to begin with. I said, watch out for Jacksonville. They may go 8-9 or 7-10 this year, but watch out for them. They're going to be a scrappy team this season, and they will test your team. They beat my Cowboys, and I was very disappointed in that. But at the end of the day, the power of Duval rides within Jacksonville. So congratulations to the Jaguars. Now I'm going to make my predictions. I'm going to start off with the noon games. We got Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but they're going to be in Atlanta. Atlanta's actually the favorites to win this game as far as the spread. And then you got the matchup predictor. You got Tampa Bay 52% favorite. I mean, Atlanta's not really a good football team. I mean, they're young. They're still progressing. They're in the same shoes as Jacksonville and Detroit. They're full of young talent. But Tampa Bay is veteran, and I'm going with the Buccaneers by 10 in this game. I just think Tampa Bay is just too good. Next game, we got the New England Patriots taking on the Buffalo Bills. Now, without Damar Hamlin, and they just went through a emotional roller coaster. Buffalo and Cincinnati did not end up playing the game. That game's canceled. So, fun fact for this, or fun, not fun, but a key implication here. So if Buffalo takes on Kansas City, they play at neutral site. If Cincinnati plays Kansas City, they play at neutral site. So this is going to be a very challenging game for Buffalo emotionally. I don't think they'll have trouble in this game, but just seeing the way Mac Jones and Matt Patricia haven't been clicking in all cylinders this season offensively. Defensively, I'm not worried about New England, even though Buffalo's just got dogs on the offensive side. Defensively, I think Buffalo's going to have a little bit of trouble. But at the same time, I just think Buffalo's going to end up winning this game. I got them winning by 7. Next game, we get the 12-4 Minnesota Vikings taking on the 3-13 Chicago Bears. This game's too easy for me. I got Minnesota by 14 in this game. I just think that offense for Chicago, Justin Fields is doing his best out there, and you're not helping him out. It's ridiculous, and I really hope they figure this shit out in the offseason for Justin Fields. And their defense is atrocious too, so Minnesota with the win. Next game, AFC North champions Cincinnati by default because they didn't play against the Bills. They'll be taking on the Baltimore Ravens. But playoff seedings in in the high state. So if the Ravens win, they're not going to be AFC North champions, but if they do end up winning, I think they play against Cincinnati again next week. So I'll have to look more into it. It's a whole mess, and yeah. So this whole Lamar and Baltimore thing, I don't know how this thing's gonna go. I would just pay the man if I'm Baltimore. If not, let him explore his options because New York is going to need a quarterback. Even though Mike White's done a phenomenal job for New York, it's just I don't know what the hell happened with New York. But someone also mentioned that they love Zach Wilson over there. I don't get that. He's a cancer to your locker room. I would not have him on the team. On the other side, Cincinnati, they just went through a traumatic experience as well with Buffalo. But, and T. Higgins, first of all, I want to say this out in the open. That was not T. Higgins' fault. So for you people, and I'm talking about the ones that are blaming T. Higgins, the ignorant fucks out there that are demonizing a person that made a football move and a freak accident just happened. It was nobody's fault. So get your ego checked and quit fucking blaming people, which I'm going to get on the Views ass here in a little bit after I make my predictions. But back to this. This game, I don't know if Lamar's going to be playing. He's out. So, and Tyler Huntley's questionable. So we don't know if Tyler Huntley's going to play. The only injured Bengal is going to be Eli Apple. So I got the Bengals winning. I got them winning by 10 in this game. Next game, we got the 2-13 Houston Texans, or 2-13-1 Houston Texans taking on the 4-11-1 Indianapolis Colts. Last time they played, the Colts and the Texans tied. If I'm Houston, I just go for I have nothing to lose. Neither does Indianapolis. I mean, Texans are actually favored to win this game. Indianapolis has been a shamble of a team this year. So has Houston, but I see a bright future with Houston. They're starting to get the right keys in the keyhole. And with Lovie Smith being there, I think it's good for Houston. I really do think so. And I've been talking to Texans fans. They don't want Lovie Smith fired. The organization is a mess. We all know that. I have said it on here multiple times. But Indianapolis has got to find a head coach because I'm sorry. I'm a fan of Jeff Saturday, and I appreciate what he's done for the Indianapolis Colts, but it's just not working out. And he knows it, and he's trying his best. Okay. And I got the Texans winning by 3 in this game. I just think that the Colts are just too damaged right now to win this game. Next game, we got the Jets taking on the Miami Dolphins. Playoff implications for Miami. They have to win this game, and New England has to lose their game in order to clinch that spot. I don't see the Jets winning this game. I really don't. I got the Dolphins winning by we'll give it a good 13 points. I think the Jets defense is good. I just think that the offense isn't going to help out at all because Zach Wilson is there. Mike White's being moved around way too many times for that starting spot. And I just think the Dolphins are too skilled to lose this game. So I got the Dolphins winning. Next game in the second to last noon game, we got the Carolina Panthers taking on the New Orleans Saints. Both teams are not in the playoffs, but the Saints are on a 3-game win streak, and the Panthers have done really well in the last several games. They lost last week to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which it's unfortunate. So key players, I think, in this game are Deontay Foreman and Chris Olave. Now, Deontay Foreman has done really well for the Panthers. He's only got 5 touchdowns, but he's eclipsing 1,000 yards. 846 yards, that's not too far away from getting 1,000. And almost 200 carries, so he's getting the ball quite a bit. Sam Darnold has really stepped up his game ever since he came in as a starter. I think with Baker Mayfield being gone, it took a lot of pressure off of Sam Darnold. Excuse me as I get my sweet tea this morning. Took a lot of pressure off of Sam Darnold, and they've been rolling. But New Orleans has been rolling too, so I got New Orleans in a very close game, three-score game. I got New Orleans. Next game, got the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns are resurging. They're not in the playoffs yet, or they're out of the playoff contention. The team that they're facing is a team that could make history here. The Pittsburgh Steelers. They're 8-8. If they win, Mike Tomlin has not had a losing season. If he gets in the playoffs based off of this win, I will consider him being a top 10 coach because you cannot argue the fact that his records have all been winning records. Despite playoff record, I'm talking about regular season record. He has statistically have been a very good coach, and he has been a great coach. He's had tremendous battles against Baltimore's great teams like the 2012 Baltimore Ravens, and then the Cleveland Browns not too long ago, and the Cincinnati Bengals with Carson Palmer, and he really took over Bill Cowher's spot and has exceeded expectations. He has not had a losing record, but that's on the line. That's been on the line. And the Pittsburgh Steelers were written off as a team that was just rebuilding. Now, the Cleveland Browns, they were a team that didn't have their starting quarterback until week 13. And he looked awful the first game, but boy, they have looked really well. And Kenny Pickett has looked good in the last couple games, even though his touchdown and interception ratio is not good. 6 out of 9 interceptions, or 6 touchdowns out of 9 interceptions. If the Pittsburgh Steelers play really good balanced defense and really good balanced offense, I think they'll win this game, and I do think they're going to win this game. Davian Clowney's out. Isaiah Thomas is out. Denzel Ward, he's questionable. Jack Conklin's out. But I just think that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to end up winning this game against the Browns and stealing that 7th spot for the playoffs. Now, do I think they're a legitimate threat? I don't know. I'll get into that later. But now we'll talk about my team, the Dallas Cowboys. Now, this is a huge game for Dallas. If they win and Philadelphia loses, Dallas wins the division and home field advantage. If you're Dallas, you want this to happen. Okay? And Sam Howell's starting. This is his first career start for Washington. So this should not be a problem for Dallas. Why do I say that? Because Sam Howell's going to have the jitterbugs at home. And that Dallas defense is a top 5 NFL defense, Arguably the best well-rounded defense in the NFL. Case in point, their defense has really stepped up a notch and helped us out in games that, man, we needed that win. But I will say this. Dak Prescott, when he came back, he made some dumb throws, made some interceptions, but he's doing pretty good. I love the fact that they're interchanging Pollard and Zeke for game plan purposes. And CeeDee Lamb is exploding this season. Give me the Cowboys. I got them winning by 17 against the Commanders. Next game we're going to talk about is the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Denver Broncos, who are rumored to get Jim Harbaugh. Now, with that being said, Jim Harbaugh is not there. Denver at Mile High. They need a win to go out and go into the offseason and just have a great offseason because, man, they have had a pitiful season for the hype that they had, which is why I don't believe in the hype anymore. I thought this AFC West was going to be more explosive. I thought this AFC West was going to be phenomenal. But it just turned out to be a two-team league, and pretty much the Chiefs dominated this division. And I had them third in the standings. Excuse me. And I had Los Angeles fourth. But both teams proved me wrong. So Justin Herbert's playing at a really good level right now. He's almost at 4,500 yards. I think the Chargers defense is the key to win this game, and they are going to deliver. I got the Chargers winning big, 21-point favorite for me. Next game is the NFC East implication that I said earlier. If Philadelphia loses, Dallas wins. Dallas takes that number 1 seed, and they end up being the NFC East champions. But if the Eagles win, they clinch that NFC East championship, and they clinch that number 1 spot. Okay? It's like a low chin here. So this is really crazy because Jalen Hurts, he's questionable to play this game. I haven't heard anything about Nick Sirianni saying, well, we're going to put Jalen Hurts in. He's a dog, But you got Josh Sweat out, which I'm glad he recovered from his injury. Josh Sweat, I know you were overlooked by the Damar Hamlin injury, which is a very serious injury. Just keep your spirits up, brother, and you'll be able to play. And Avonte Maddox too, he's a key part to that Philadelphia defense. But other than that, I think this is gonna be a good game. I really do think so. The key is don't let Daniel Jones fuck up this game for you, New York. And I'm actually rooting for New York to win this game, but I got to make an educated decision here. And I don't know if Gardner Minshew is going to start or Jalen Hurts is going to play. And I think it's going to lean towards Gardner Minshew going to play, but give me the Giants to win. I think it's going to be a close game. 3-point favorite for me. I got the Giants winning. Next game, got the Arizona Cardinals taking on the San Francisco 49ers, another team that has really surprised me this season, especially with Jimmy G coming back. Arizona, another disappointing season. I personally think you should just get rid of Kyler Murray altogether if you're Arizona. He's a freaking kid, So I got San Francisco winning this game big. Give me 20 points over the Cardinals. Then we got the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Seattle Seahawks. If the Seahawks win, they're in. If they lose, if they win and the Packers lose, Seattle's in. But if they lose, they're out. And if Detroit lands, Detroit's in the playoff. But I got to say, I think Los Angeles is too hurt to play this, or the Rams are too hurt to play this game. So I'm going to have to go with Seattle at home at CenturyLink, and they'll win. They'll win by 17 in this game. Last game before I get to the main event, and I will have audio for this because this is pretty. This is something I need to talk about. But before I get to that, this is a huge implicated game right here. Got the Detroit Lions traveling to Lambeau Field to take on the Green Bay Packers. This is a very feel-good story for Detroit. I think it's a Cinderella story in the regular season. Detroit hasn't been to eight wins in quite some time since the John Kitna days, in the Jim Schwartz days. Green Bay really stepped up their game. Aaron Rodgers has been a really good leader, even though he hasn't been the same Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon has done a really good job providing the help that Aaron Rodgers needed in the backfield. So, all these young receivers are stepping up their game too. But Christian Watson is a key part, and it looks like he is playing in this game. And you got a lot of questionables for Detroit. I don't know, man. Playing in Lambeau is hard. Dallas lost to Green Bay at Lambeau. I got Green Bay winning this game. I really do think that Detroit is going to put up a fight against Green Bay, but they just don't have the defense. And there's just a lot of questionables on their defense. Deshaun Elliott, for example, he's questionable. Jeff Okudah, he's questionable. And then on offense, you got Jason Kimbadina. He's questionable. And then you got Frank Ragnow. He's questionable. So I got Green Bay winning this game. I think they're just going to win by 2 possessions, 10 points. And that concludes my predictions for this week. And I had the Chiefs and the Jaguars winning against the Titans and Raiders. So I'm 2-0 right now. So I am off to a hot start. Now, we're getting into our main event. This is fucking ridiculous that I have to put this on the podcast. Why do I have to put this on the PMP? Well, first of all, I call out ignorance. I call out major ignorance, okay? Especially on sports personnel and yada, yada, yada. But, so the View doesn't have the video up. Wow. I don't normally blow things out of proportion like this on here. But when you say football is a unsafe sport, and you say, oh, there it is. So before I get to that, I want to talk about it. You want to sit there, run your mouth, and talk about how football's unsafe. And the worst thing about it was they brought up statistics. I mean, here, you know what? I'll play the fucking video, and I'll react to it, and I'll make stops and whatnot. So here we go.
You know, Monday Night Football fans watched in horror when Damar Hamlin collapsed after a hit to the chest caused him to go into cardiac arrest. EMTs performed CPR in the field for 10 minutes, and he's still in critical condition. It has renewed calls for the NFL and all football programs to make safety a bigger priority. Do we think this is going to make more people turn away from the sport? I don't think anybody wants people to turn away from this.
First of all, I cannot stand that pompous old windbag, Whoopi Goldberg, and Joey Behar. And people that support The View, they're mindless sheep. They are mindless sheep. I am telling you right now, they just say ridiculous and obscene shit on there. I don't normally pay attention to all that. I honestly ignore that because, first of all, I don't bring politics into the podcast, and I stop talking about politics because it's just gonna hurt you in the long run. And not only that, you just get miserable, you just get pissed off. So there's no reason for it, you know. Now, election time, that's when you say make your vote and you choose whoever you want. You know, freedom of speech, freedom to vote. That's what America's made for, and that's the beauty of it. But for people like Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar to demonize people for who they vote for and what party they vote for is ridiculous. So I know in the past, my Facebook friends will say, well, you were this about this certain party. Yeah, I get that. But I'm an understanding person too, and I learned my mistake. Okay? And I don't talk about politics. I don't do none of that. I may have some criticisms about certain somebodies, But it is what it is, I didn't vote for that, so it is what it is. So let's continue on with Whoopi Goldberg making an ass out of herself again. So
I think they want them to make the sport safer. However, this hit, I don't know that there's anything that could have been done that they could have avoided, because the heartbeat has to be happening at a certain time, and then this whole thing. Yeah. But first of all, we want him and his family to know we're thinking of them. That's the number one thing. But it was.
By the way, that's a fake crowd. If you haven't noticed, that's a fake fucking crowd. They have an audio for clapping. So The View is one of the worst shows in history. It should have been wiped away, but it's one of those shows like SNL that just has been on forever. So, I mean, and this is fake. I will be honest. Whoopi Goldberg can give a shit less about a guy like Damar Hamlin. So, and with her saying this hit, she's making it seem like it was a big hit. It was a football move that happened at the right time. And I don't mean like it should have been happening. What I'm saying is the timing hit right on time, where the pressure and the velocity of that hit, it was not a hard hit. It's just the velocity behind it with the rapid heart rate, and they just matched, and it caused him to go into cardiac arrest. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to stop talking for a little bit. I just want to hear what these idiots got to say.
It was stunning. It was horrific, and it's every parent's nightmare who has a kid that plays football.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, my kid played football. He was recruited for college, and he got a terrible hamstring injury getting hit. And I saw him collapse.
So cute.
What? Okay. I'm not laughing because of the injury. I'm laughing because of the way she said that. So that's Sunny Hostin, by the way. I don't know who the hell that is. I don't care. She's a moron too. She said that her son got injured with a hamstring injury as he got hit. Okay, think about that for a second. Hamstring injuries, like pulling a muscle hamstring or tearing a muscle. I mean, what are you talking about? And a hit? No. Clearly, she doesn't know the sport of football. Anybody that has played the game, watched the game in such passion, or anybody that has been on the fucking gridiron can tell you that she's an idiot. If he had a hamstring injury, he overstretched his muscle, or if he tore his hamstring muscle, I've seen it happen. I have seen it happen. Now, there's cases where he could be making a football move and he stretches his legs out too far, or he hyperextends his hamstring. It happens. Another case of freak accident. Now you're blaming contact off of a hamstring. Continue.
The ground. Thank you. And he went through physical therapy for 6 months, and he realized at that point, that could happen to my brain.
Right. Yeah.
And
that could happen to my brain. I could pull a muscle in my brain. When have we devolved in intelligence? What? Okay. What does a fucking hamstring have to do with a head injury? Tell me that. This woman right here is making false allegations about her son's injury, hamstring injury. He got hit on a tackle. She doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about that. And then she wants to say, it could happen to my brain. She sounded like a fucking idiot just now. And, it blows my fucking mind how fucking idiotic people can be. And this is not the worst part of it. This is not the worst part of it. And it just blows my mind how fucking stupid people are. And you have a panel there where you have hot topics, you have certain shit that you got to talk about, and the problem is people aren't real on there. And shout out to Coach JB for being a real one that tells it how it is, and he's not on TV, but except for being on the Jason Whitlock show. Shout out to Jason Whitlock. Now, Jason Whitlock's a real person. He talks about real shit. And you want to sit there, talk about a hamstring injury in comparison with a head injury. Are you fucking stupid? Wow. All right, moving on.
And so he quit. And he did. He quit. And it was a very hard thing for him because he loved doing it. Yeah. But I don't think it's going to turn people away from the sport because, I went to Notre Dame. It's like faith, family, football. It's a big deal, and it's a $105 billion industry.
Yeah.
I think she was talking about the NFL, but she brought up Notre Dame. Okay, you're talking about NFL. What in the hell does Notre Dame have to do with the NFL in this certain topic? You're just throwing shit out there that makes no fucking sense. Okay? And I'm glad I'm not reacting it on here because they probably would take it down. That's how these programs, these channels are. And that's the reason why I don't watch shows like this, because of pure ignorance. It is pure stupidity. It kills brain cells to watch this shit. Unfucking real. And I haven't even gotten to Joy Behar yet. I can't stand her. And it just blows my mind. It does. These fake-ass people that want to talk shit about football, that don't know anything about football, don't know the truth about hamstring injuries or head injuries. Trust me, I've been hitting the noggin quite many times in my time in football. I played fullback and middle linebacker. Probably the most contacted positions in the skill position. Okay? Offensive linemen, defensive linemen, they bang heads all the time. You don't see them complain about their hamstring. Fucking dumbass. Unbelievable. Roll the clip.
Well, 45% of Americans think that tackle football is appropriate. Wow. Heterosexual men voted the most support for kids doing football. Mm-hmm. And conservatives were more likely to support youth tackle football. Just saying. So I don't...
Just saying. The pure arrogance of Joy Behar. This is what I was talking about. Joy Behar a sexist feminist that demonizes men for being men. And she was doing statistics about how heterosexual men, conservatives, and she brought up conservatives. She has to bring politics into things. That's how these shows work, okay? Because honestly, politics does bring in the viewership, And I just can't believe that people. I can't believe that people like normal people, middle class workers, follow this shit. Follow this arrogant, pompous windbag of a woman named Joy Behar. Now, I may receive backlash because I'm about to say something that could be quite offensive, but it shouldn't be. But it will be, because we live in a society today that if you say one thing, another thing comes out and you start getting backlash. Okay, I just received this not too long ago. Big whoop, Thank God it was one person, but I'm not going to talk about that. That's not going to even be mentioned on this show. But The View is made to hate men, okay? And it's just sad that we have young women that follow through this show like The View. The View is made to divide men and women. It is made to divide the principles of men and women being together. That's what this show is made to do. And it's supposed to hate on men. It's supposed to hate on men things. And also politics. Bring up conservatives. How they do this, how they do that. And I don't like it because it hurts my feelings. Give me a fucking break. You need to fucking do something, Joy Behar. Stick a tampon in there and fucking shut the fuck up. You're on there for one reason, and that's to talk. I understand freedom of speech. Good on you to talk about freedom of speech. But when you demonize somebody for doing the same goddamn thing, sorry for using the Lord's name in vain, because I am so heated right now of how stupid these women are. And I'm not talking about in general. I'm talking about on The View and The View followers. Okay? The View is made to separate men and women. Plain and simple. I don't even have to watch it and tell you that. And that fake audience, that tells you everything. And why have an audience, a live audience? That's so overrated. I understand if it's like for a special occasion like College Game Day, where you have a live audience and you're sitting there talking about how TCU need the keys for TCU to beat Georgia. Talk about positive things. You're going into the negative, the deep negative. That's what this show is made to do, and I fucking cannot stand it. I cannot stand shows like this. I have had it with these shows. I really have. And I'm using my platform now to speak my mind. And these women on this show do not know who the fuck or what the fuck the NFL is about. They don't know what football is about. Whoopi Goldberg, she said the most offensive thing on TV. Gave her a chance. She said it again. They did not punish her. I don't understand. I do not understand this blasphemous show. Pompous windbags And I'm sorry that I'm getting angry on the PMP, but it's the fucking truth. I don't want to be angry and talk about The View on this podcast. I don't even want them to get views. No pun intended. I don't even want them to be even mentioned on my show. I never even liked the show as a kid. Never even once liked it. And honestly, I thought Whoopi Goldberg was overrated. And I thought Joey Behar was overrated. Shit's ridiculous, guys. And the women that don't follow this, I commend y'all. Because y'all have some sense. Or actually, you have all the sense. Because these women have no sense. And I guess y'all took it away when they started getting too political about Trump. And you guys decided to walk out. And I commend you all for that. But The View is made to divide. Just remember that. Roll the clip.
I think it would turn people away from consuming the sport because it is, as Sunny says, such a huge part of tradition.
In this country, yeah.
In this country. I grew up, football was just the norm. My parents went to the games long after we were even in high school because the whole town did. I loved Friday Night Lights, et cetera, et cetera. What it might change is people that have kids coming up because like me, we didn't, you even wouldn't have known completely all the damage that can be done. Now, as you see some of the science coming out and the risks of CTE, as a parent, it's the one hard line I draw in the sand that I will not even let my kids pretend to fall in love or get a chance to fall in love with that sport because.
So you're going to be a dictator. So you're going to say you're not allowed to watch football. You're not allowed to play football. You're not even allowed to think football. You're going to tell your kids, your babies, that they cannot do this. Where are we at in society? Where are we at in society? I almost want to just stop playing the video because of the pure stupidity, but I want to watch the entire thing because of the fact that I want to see what every one of them have to say. And I don't know who this chick is. I don't care who this chick is. But really? You're gonna demonize your kids as well for even thinking about playing football? And I grew up in the state of Texas, okay? I was born and raised in Texas, where every kid played football. Now, there was kids that were forced into playing football, but eventually loved playing it. I fucking lived and breathed football since I came out of the womb. Ever since the Cowboys won their last Super Bowl and I came out, I was a living, breathing specimen of a football fanatic. And you have the audacity to sit there and demonize your children and people that have future children or eventually will have children and plan on having their kids play, or their kids want to play and they decide to sign them up to the next Pop Warner or Pee Wee football team, and you want to demonize them because they want to play football? Get the fuck out of here. The View is just one clusterfuck of a fuck up, you know? Roll the clip.
Because I look at my own family, we have depression and some that runs in the family. We've got things we're not going to be able to avoid. You have natural disasters in the world. You have cancer. You have sickness. I don't want to increase any chance that my children could deal with some of the mental problems.
Oh my God. The hat has come off, folks. This woman is comparing football to a natural disaster. For her kids. My head hurts just talking about this. Main reason why I am holding my head like this is because my head is killing me. Not because of how loud this thing is. Just wrapping my head around how stupid these people sound.
Of head injuries.
I think a lot of mothers certainly feel that way and have felt that way for a long time. But it's the way my son describes it as it's a family. It's a bonding experience that he had never had before.
But there are other sports.
Play golf. My husband and I have already. We don't even have kids yet.
Play golf? Golf is a one-man sport. And, you know, Sonny did bring up a good point. She did bring up a good point. When she talked to her son, it is a bonding experience. It is a brotherhood that he has never experienced in his life. And that is true. I have buddies that I've played Pee Wee football with ever since we first started playing football. When we first put on the pads, when we put our helmets on. We have built a brotherhood. I still talk to them to this day, you know. I saw one of them down here in Port Aransas not too long ago, you know, and we talked a bit about the difference between when I was in Central Texas and then when I left, you know, and it's a brotherhood no matter what, you know, and it just blows my mind that Joy Behar, this egomaniac, has to play golf. Golf is not a brotherhood. And honestly, you would not understand. Joy Behar looks like she has never played any sports in her entire life. Instead, she was stuffing fucking crab cakes down her fucking face. And Whoopi Goldberg looks like she was cramming down fudge funnel cakes or whatever the hell. You know, I just don't get it. And Sonny did bring up that one good point. One good point out of the 10 fucking points that she said earlier that was fucking stupid. But she did bring up that one good point. I will give her that. That was the only good point in this video right here. And not one of them talked about heart condition. Not one of them talked about heart condition. Head injury, hamstring injury, head injury. That's all I hear. No heart condition. Natural disaster, though. Really? You're really disrespecting Damar Hamlin right now. Also, by not mentioning his condition, his critical condition that he was in, that he still remains in, by the way, but he's getting better. And I say he's getting better, and he will be able to walk because it is the grace of God. And yes, the University of Cincinnati Medical Center has a lot to do with it. But with the power of prayer, it works. And it just blows my mind that we got idiots on this panel that have a platform, that have had a reputation, to sit there and talk about head injuries when it was a heart problem. It was a cardiac arrest. Y'all are acting like he got concussed and then had the cardiac arrest. Get the fuck out of here.
And we had the conversation. We had the conversation.
With tennis.
If we have boys, we don't want them to play football. But this hit close to home. So I had a friend I kind of lost touch with a few years ago, but played at a major SEC school, was a star football player, didn't end up going pro, was a successful attorney, but he'd sustained so many injuries playing the sport that he got addicted to painkillers. And he actually passed away a couple months ago, an unintentional overdose. And thank you, his family. But there are so many injuries, whether it's CTE and the concussions, which I know the league's taking steps to try to deal with, but it's also just the toll it takes on the body, unlike any other sport.
One of the things that all of you mothers are going to have to deal with.
Oh, here we go. The main bitch in this fucking show. And I'm sorry I called her a bitch, but She is one. She is a bitch. I bet you guess. Fuck her. But that other chick, she was trying to explain something, but she kept getting interrupted. I don't know why they were trying to interrupt her. She was explaining she lost a friend. He was successful in the SEC, played college ball. He didn't go to the pros. He was a lawyer, got addicted to painkillers. It happens. Same way with the military. A lot of guys get injuries in the military. They get addicted to painkillers, and they either are homeless or in jail or dead, And that hits close to home, too, I haven't had anybody personally in the military that I know go through that, but it does happen. And it does happen in the sports world. I've seen it happen in the sports world. It doesn't matter what sport you play. It just happens, And I commend Alyssa for trying to give her point, but big fat ass Whoopi Goldberg had to say something. She always has something to say. And so does Joy Behar. I'm going to let Whoopi Goldberg say her piece because best thing I could do is pray for these women's stupidity. That's all I got.
Is it may not be your choice.
That's what happened to me.
It may not be your choice. And all you can do is give them all the information that you can and really make sure that wherever they're playing, that there are doctors around who know what's happening. Because the truth of the matter is you could run and trip on the tennis court and pull a hamstring.
Yeah, and soccer is very dangerous.
I mean, you can get hurt. Look, somebody I know fell off a chair. Okay?
What I will say is, though, they should
Do it again if you make sure.
their contracts are not guaranteed all the time, so they're taking this risk with their bodies and their brains, and they may not even get paid if they get an injury.
Listen, this all makes sense to everybody at the table.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, and you know.
I didn't sign the agreement for Gabriel to play, and he played anyway.
He played anyway. And this is so all you can do is give them the best information that's out there. That means you have to pay attention to everything that's happening. Yep. You can't sit by and hope that somebody's going to take care of this. This is going to be in your hands if your kid is playing any kind of sport. And let us also talk about the fabulous Jeremy Renner, who also had an insane injury.
Yeah, I heard about Jeremy Renner, but oh my God. Yeah, Jeremy Renner did get injured. But not once have y'all mentioned about a heart condition. Y'all bounced around the topic. Y'all fucking bounced around the topic in the player. Instead, y'all wanted to talk about how y'all should console your kids. Talk about how y'all should let their kids know, hey, you're going to be in a dangerous sport, sweetie. You gotta make sure that you understand that you could have head injuries and hamstring injuries that can go up to your spinal cord and hurt your little noggin, And if you want to do this, I support it. And that's what's wrong with this fucking society. And I fucking cannot stand it. And not once have y'all mentioned the heart condition of Damar Hamlin, Instead, y'all bounce around the topic. Y'all talk about Joy Behar just wants to fucking cancel football, which that's never going to happen. And COVID proved it. You cannot cancel football. Football is the commodity of America sports. people used to say baseball was America's sport, but now football has taken that over, you know? And these women are fucking idiots. I am so sorry for demonizing people for expressing their views, but they are criticizing something that they have no fucking idea. They haven't done the research. They haven't done any possible thing. And if they do the research, it's wrong. These people are wrong either way. They just say they're right, and when somebody tries to prove them wrong, they get a fucking attitude with them. I mean, take a look at the Ted Cruz and Ben Shapiro show on there, or when they went on The View. Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg walked off the fucking panel because I think it was Donald Trump Jr. He proved them wrong, and they got offended because they were wrong. So for you people that sit on a panel with your fat fucking asses, don't know what you're fucking talking about, don't even talk about Damar Hamlin, you just say, well, we hope he feels better. And then you go along and you talk about hamstring injuries that could possibly lead to head injuries, which is fucking stupid. And then you talk about natural disasters and how your son did this, did that, you know. And I commend Alyssa for trying to say something about her friend that passed away. Godspeed, you know. But not once did y'all even mention Damar Hamlin's heart condition, how that could affect the game, and how it should be handled. You know? And I commend Dan Orlovsky. I'm not the biggest fan of Dan Orlovsky on his takes, but he made me respect him after he went on live television on ESPN, sent out a prayer for Damar Hamlin. That is pure class. Then you got these jackasses of women, these pompous old windbags that don't even talk about it. They just say, well, we hope the best for Damar Hamlin. And then they just spout out a bunch of bullshit. And then Joy Behar with the audacity talk about politics and something that has nothing to do with politics. Take politics out of sports. I get it. You got a voice. You got a panel. But when you don't make fucking sense about a certain topic, you need to shut the fuck up. Like I said earlier, stick a tampon up there and shut the fuck up.
That made headlines after a snowplow accident. It ran over him. He was helping someone, and the thing took off and ran.
Okay, so I guess they're done talking about Damar Hamlin. They got about less than 30 seconds to talk about. Now they're going to talk about a celebrity that got ran over by a snowplow, which I hope Jeremy Renner's okay. But I think it's the fact that he's Christian and he made $7 million for donations for children, you know, and these people hate children too. I'm just going to throw that out there. These people fucking hate children. I don't usually talk about this stuff on the PMP. It is primarily a football podcast. But when you bring up something about football, when you make ridiculous accusations about football, and you bring up politics into football, I got something to say. Okay? That's where I draw the fucking line. And I'm going to tell you how I really feel about you and your stupid ass show that's been on for far too fucking long with your fake ass audience that isn't even there. You just got automated claps and automated woo-hoo-hoo. Yeah, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. So I'm going to play this last 30 seconds of this, and then I'm going to give my final thoughts on that and my final thoughts on the last week of the NFL season. I'm just really irritated right now because of the fact that they want to have the audacity to say they feel they're hoping that he heals, and then don't even talk about the situation. They don't even talk about it. You can go on the Views YouTube right now. I'm on that right now and listening to this arrogance of these women. These women on here have the audacity to even mention head injuries when it wasn't even a head injury. Mention natural disasters when natural disasters have nothing to do with heart condition. Okay? And don't take it the wrong way. There's sometimes where people have cardiac arrest during a natural disaster. It happens. But I'm talking about in this particular situation where there's a game on the line. There's no fucking earthquake or hurricane or tornado going through there. Otherwise, they would have evacuated the fucking stadium anyway, ahead of time. That wouldn't have happened if that was the case. And then you have the audacity to, when someone brings up a good point about brotherhood, and this is that about football, and you go, well, play golf. Really? Joey Behar, you fucking dumb. Ugh.
Over I mean, that's the stuff you see in cartoons.
Yeah.
He survived it. He's had several surgeries, and we want him to know that we want him to get better.
Yeah.
We're sending you our best, as is our audience. So, let's keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best and hope that the kids
Absolutely.
take care of
It's a
it.
minefield out there.
Life is a
Be
minefield,
careful.
and so is this table.
Okay, so that was the end of the video. They did not say one fucking thing about a heart condition. They did not say one thing about Damar Hamlin, except for like a little bit, like not even 30 seconds worth of talking about Damar Hamlin. Okay, Damar Hamlin, I wish you well, brother. I hope you overcome this adversity that you're going through right now, and I hope you get your ass back on the field because you are a hell of a talent, and I cannot wait to see you back on the field, man. I have that much faith in you. I really do. I really do think that you are going to be on there. This man survived a 5% chance of living. He is part of that 5%. 95% of people that deal with what he had to deal with have passed away. Not to mention, he didn't just get resuscitated once. He got resuscitated twice. Once on the field and once in the hospital. So for those women, and I'm just talking about the women that had the audacity to talk about nothing else or anything other than Damar Hamlin. Alyssa, she probably was going to make a good point, and she was probably going to talk about Damar Hamlin. But, oh no, Whoopi had to say something. Just like she always says something. And I don't like to talk about this shit on my podcast. I really don't. I don't. If I did, I would have made this show the View bashing podcast. I don't know. I just don't know. But for them women to demonize people that love the game of football and talk about men, demonizing men, and then demonizing conservatives. And I'm not one to just talk about politics on my podcast. Really, I think I would lose viewership if I just ended up talking about my political views. And I respect everybody's wishes, And, I don't talk about this shit. But this had to be talked about because it is pure stupidity. And it is fucking unbelievable that someone would have the audacity to talk about politics in a life or death situation. In a life or death situation. It blows my mind. This topic right here, where The View was just bashing football and bashing Joy Behar bashing conservatives for liking football. And it's not just conservatives, it's liberals, it's libertarians, it's all of the apples of the bunch, that love the game of football, that have disagreements politically, but love the game of football. You know why? Because it brings us together. And yes, a tragedy happened on the field in Cincinnati, and I get that we need to make changes in the NFL to where it's safer for our players, but America's gotten soft, man. America's gotten really soft in the last several years. And honestly, players have gotten injured more with all these safety protocols and this, that, than the 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, even 1990s, Yeah, you saw brutal injuries, but none to this magnitude. And Joe Theismann broke his leg and almost died. Or Alex Smith broke his leg and almost died, which was recent. He had to retire because of that. Willis McGahee, he snapped his leg like this and was able to come back. So for these women on that show, that terrible show that nobody should be watching because it separates men from women, I'll be honest. I think it separates men from women. That's just my opinion. You could think otherwise. You could agree with me. I don't care. I'm sticking by that. And yeah, I do not. The pure ignorance on these people, man. They just blow my mind. The View blows my mind. The people that watch The View and actually support The View blow my mind. They're the same people that go on social media, blast somebody because they say the color purple, and they go, purple's offensive because you're making fun of the LGBTQ flag. Well, shut the fuck up. Grow a set. Just shut the fuck up. Nobody wants to talk about what the color purple does to the flag. I don't care. I don't care about your views. Respect my views, and I'll respect yours. You can have a disagreement, but respectfully. So the whole point of this podcast was basically The View. Bashing football and bringing up shit that doesn't even have anything to do with Damar Hamlin's injury. And then to bring up Jeremy Renner, I mean, Godspeed Jeremy Renner. I hope he's okay. But it's just fucking nuts. It's nuts. I don't get this. And I don't get why people watch The View. It is a terrible show. Fake clapping, fake laughs, fake everything in between, And I don't even know why you have to have a fake audience. I don't know why. You don't see Skip and Shannon have fake audience, and they debate about everything. Just recently, Skip Bayless sent out a tweet, and at first I looked at it and was like, God, at that time, and that was the Damar Hamlin injury tweet, and I took offense of it. I'm not going to lie. I took offense of it. And then I read it, and I was like, okay, well, he just said it in the wrong way. And Scott Van Pelt said the same thing. He didn't get bashed for it, but Skip Bayless did. And I'm not going to lie. I did bash him for that. And then Shannon Sharp didn't show up Monday. Skip didn't apologize because Skip's a piece of shit. We all know that. So then Shannon comes on the next day and tells him, yeah, I hope Skip deletes the tweet. Skip interrupts him and says, I'm not going to delete that tweet. And they have a quick little spout. But they're fine, They're still talking on Undisputed. But The View is just made to separate men and women, and it's wrong. It is wrong. Whoopi should not be on that show for talking about genocide and whatnot. And I'm sorry. I do not respect people that just blatantly talk about politics on something that has nothing to do with politics. Why does politics have to be involved with every little fucking thing in today's society? Why? So I'm done with that. I'm done with that spout. I'm done with that. I'm done. You know? But this is the last week of the NFL season, going into the playoffs. Got quite a few playoff implications, both trying to get into the playoffs or trying to get a seeding. I look forward to covering that next week, and I'll try to do like a recap of the season for the NFL because I missed quite a few weeks of that because mainly of work and focusing on college football playoffs and bowl games, which I'll do better next year on managing that in the NFL. But I just want to thank you guys for watching the PMP and choosing the PMP as a platform to watch and to learn about football and to not criticize football, you know, and choosing us for y'all's favorite content. And I really do appreciate you guys. We may be heading in the right direction right now as far as getting sponsors and whatnot. And I am looking forward to talking about sponsors eventually. But the whole point of this video, I was just going to talk about NFL. And then I saw the Joy Behar BS that spouted out of her mouth. And that Sunny chick that I don't even remember her last name. I don't even care. She spouted out some weird shit too. So I give credit to Officer Tatum. Shout out to that guy. He is a former police officer, former Arizona State football player, highly recruited guy too. So hopefully I can have him on the PMP at some point. And I mean, he's very vocal politically. He makes really good points about certain things, and I would really like to have him on the PMP at some point if that ever happens. Just like the whole Dion wish list. Would like to have him on. And also Jamal Williams. I actually DM'd Jamal Williams, but I haven't gotten a response yet, or probably won't because he's an NFL player and he's super busy right now because he's got to go against his former team, the Green Bay Packers. But we're going to end on a high note. I'm glad that I was able to provide good content for you guys. Y'all probably didn't like what I had to say. That's fine. But we are, excuse me, I had to burp for a second. But we are the greatest podcast on YouTube. We are the best football podcast in all YouTube. We are the cream of the crop. We are the PMP. Thank you very much for tuning in this morning. I know it's early. Get your coffee in and then get your popcorn ready. Thank you guys for watching. And ta-ta for now. Goodbye. Good night. Bang.
All my haters mad, but I don't give a fuck. My chopper hit. My chubby hit. My 40 hit. My 40 hit. I don't care if you let how step. I don't care if you let how rip. I don't care if you let how step. I don't care if you let how rip. I got sauce, I got flavor. Getting all this paper. I got sauce, I got flavor. Getting all this paper. Plain Jane Paddock on my motherfucking wrist. They notice every time when I walk up in this bitch. Post on walk up in this bitch. Keep my clock up in this bitch. Post on walk up in this bitch. Keep my clock up in this bitch. My chopper hit. My chubby hit, my 40 hit, my 40 hit. I don't care if you let how step, I don't care if you let how rip, I don't care if you let how step, I don't care if you let how rip. Doing something different, and I had to switch it up. Turned up in my section, every night we live it up. All my haters mad, but I don't give a fuck. All my haters mad, but I don't give a fuck. Doing something different, and I had to switch it up. Turned up in my section, every night we live it up. All my haters mad, but I don't give a fuck. All my haters mad, but I don't give a fuck. This shit is exciting, do it with the right team. My style, they biting, I'm striking like lightning. I'm bagging this bitch, I'm talking my shit. I'm bagging this bitch, I'm talking my shit. I'm about to get on your ass, I'ma just count me some cash. I'm about to get on your ass, I'ma just count me some cash. Doing something different, man, I had to switch it up. Turned up in my section, every night we live it up. All my haters mad, but I don't give a fuck. All my haters mad, but I don't give a fuck.